showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jar.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jerome Gayman, your host from the beautiful state of Florida here. Today is a beautiful day. I am in Mooney, my Florida Atlantic University. My alma mater lost to San Diego State by 1 point. And I am still recovering from that beating. But that as it may be, I have great folks in the house. I have the veteran from the Republic of Liberia. Everybody knows who Honorable Doctor, my friend, Moses Sandy is when it comes to the media landscape. He's here to educate us on the topics that we're going to be discussing today. Mr. Sandy, welcome to On Point. This is your first time around. So I gave you a seditious salute. Thank you very much for coming
sir.
on.
Thank you for the invitation.
Say a little bit about yourself. I know you have another podcast that we need to tune into. Another informative network. Go ahead.
Okay. Look, my name is not strange in the media community. In the United States and Liberia, the name Moses Sandy resonates. Before I resettled in the United States years ago, my last position in the media as an active journalist was editor-in-chief of the Liberia Broadcasting System. I'm national president emeritus of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the America, AJA. AJA brings together current and retired Liberian journalists residing in the Americas. And there are three reasons why this organization was established in 1998 in Washington, D.C. First, to promote camaraderie amongst Liberian journalists in the Americas, champion the cause of press freedom and good governance in Liberia, and to also consolidate, help in promoting and the principles of good governance with the foremost objective of consolidating the peace in Liberia. I am the individual, I'm the brain behind the resuscitation of the organization after a crumble in 2004. In 2014, some colleagues and I, led by me, initiated the process and we laid the foundation to what we have today as the most vivacious, the most animated, Liberian organization in the diaspora. When I was national president, I brought to this country 42 Liberian journalists under the umbrella of AJAT, and we continue to play that. I'm an active community member here in Delaware. I live in Newcastle, Delaware. I'm part of the Liberian community, work in various careers, and besides that, I'm a career social worker. I studied social work administration at Temple University. And finally, I would like to say that I'm one of the hosts of the most talked about the issues from a social media platform created primarily for telling the stories, in today's Liberia, and also the stories evolving in other parts of the world. So once again, it's a pleasure for this opportunity to be here to share with you my thoughts about the issues that we are to discuss tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I know most of you have seen and have heard from Mr. Michael Padmore, my co-host here for over a year now. And you don't know anything about Michael Padmore besides those who are in his immediate circle. Mr. Padmore, tell a little bit about yourself and some of the. I admire a lot of the work you're doing, but not just between you and myself. Let the folks know who you are. You're not just a pretty face sitting here.
Man, maybe it's intentional. But
I
anyway,
like that bad more.
people know me, man. You know, I'm a Liberian through and through. I'm very passionate about the things of all things Liberian. I'm very passionate about the future of Liberia. I'm very passionate about the children of Liberia. You know, and that's why I take the time off to be here. You know, as much as I can. Um, I'm a I'm a businessman. I've lived in the U.S. Um, for about 23 years. When I moved here, I had a target of 25 years, and so I'm coming up to 25 years.
That's good.
I'm hopeful that at that mark, um, I can return home, and so it is coming. Things are in play for that to happen. But I'm a businessman. Um, I try to involve myself in the Liberian community in the U.S., in Minnesota, in my neighborhood. Um, we are looking forward to the summer. We're hoping here we can have a Liberian festival for the very first time in the great state of Minnesota. And I'm very excited about it. I think, you know, Minnesota is the largest enclave of Liberians anywhere outside of Liberia. And we need to put our footprint down in the community. Um, I'm hoping that this just doesn't stop with a festival. I believe we need to put our imprint down in government, in school boards, in community. That is where change happens. And I think if we can practice it here, we can lead a very good example for our people back home on how to influence government and how to allow government to work for you, which is most important. That is the essence of government. Government was created to work for the people. But that cannot happen if the people are not invested in government. So we are learning, we are implementing, we are finding out mistakes, we are relearning, unlearning, relearning, and then re-implementing. Um, but you know, that's why I just like I don't I'm one of those people I don't see myself as a center of attention. I just like to see effective things happen. Um, and so I will stop there. It's a beautiful day in Minnesota. It is sunny. We had 7 inches of snow 2 days ago, but it's still beautiful. It's still sunny, and I'm very excited about summer. Very excited about Liberia and the Liberian elections, and what might dawn from there. But I'm so glad to be here as usual and to share this time with you, honorable gentlemen.
Thank you very much. And this is why I like Michael Padmore. When I see him, I see a lot of myself because after the election in 2005 in Liberia, obviously I'm a strong supporter of President Weah. I was upset, but immediately after the election, I kept going to Liberia, taking investors, hospitals, professors, and the president was gracious enough to invite me 3 times. I sat with her, and she said, Jerome, you have the right to criticize me every day, anytime, because at least you are doing something. Say, but there are people out there that will criticize and do absolutely nothing. They stay away. They don't like me. They would like to stay away until I leave. And then if they don't like that person, then they will wait until their man come into power or their woman. Do you know how long that would be? That 12 years of Ellen's term. 12 years of your life, you stay away from Liberia. Now, if your man wasn't there, now here comes George. We are 6 years. That's 18 years. We can't do that. You can't build a country. So when I see Michael Padmore, as much as we argue and everything, every time you turn around, there's a project going on in Liberia. There's a scholarship going on in Liberia. They are rescuing the poor children. That's what patriotism calls for. You can criticize, because you have a vested interest. Ladies and gentlemen, please share this show. You are in for a treat. Mr. Padmore, please share. Mr. Sandy, please share. Ladies and gentlemen out there, please share this show. You are about to hear from one of the veterans of Liberia that will tell you exactly as it is. He has no bone to pick. He's not running for president. He's not running for anything. He has a beautiful resume. But let's jump right into our topics for today. Current event, things are going on and happening fast. They were 1988 when President Bush was running to succeed his partner, Ronald Reagan. A year after he won the election, he gave a speech. And as the former CIA director, he said, and the topic of that speech was the New World Order. George H.W. Bush. The New World Order. Whether you like it or not, the world was never going to be the same. And today, our first topic delves right into that. After the Cold War, Mr. Padmore and Mr. Sandy, the United States threw Liberia under the bus. They threw us in the garbage. After years, decades of the Omega Tower being the spying point for the United States, for the entire Africa, they used us for whatever we were worth. And after they won the Cold War based on our Omega Tower, they threw us in the garbage. Some people accused them for being part of the dethroning and overthrow of Talbot. We have no definitive information, but that's what people say. And Liberia went down the drain. They left us for decades. And now the vacuum that the United States left began to be filled by the Chinese, and along with the Chinese, they brought their partner, the Russians. You turn around, you look what they did in Mali. They ran the French out, and they brought the Russians and the Wagner Group. Same thing in Central Africa. They ran the French out. They brought in the Russians, the Chinese, and the Wagner Group. Next door to Burkina Faso, you see a lot of Burkinabes coming to Liberia. They ran the French out. The Chinese, the Russians, and the Wagner Group, they are there. You saw the clip. They are spending $10 billion in the Congo, where they are building international freeways. South Africa, Mozambique, Chad, all of these countries are now lining now. United States have seen that, listen, they are behind. They are frantically going to West Africa, and Liberia has become the arrowhead. Mr. Padmore, well, let me go to the veteran first. Mr. Sandy.
Yes, sir.
Where is Liberia in all of this? There are three questions into one. Liberia,
the expansion.
Liberia is now once again the arrowhead. What is our importance? What is it we should be asking for? What should be our demands? And how should we do it?
Well, I would like to begin on a historical note. Liberia's founding fathers, the brains behind the liberation, the free slaves that went to Liberia in 1816, out of that, these people emanated from the United States. So it tells you the kind of a historical relationship that Liberia and the United States had. We have an inseparable relationship. If you write a history of Liberia, if America is not mentioned, then it means that history is incomplete. We continue to be friends. America continues to support almost everything we do, even to tell you how supportive the United States continues to be. The election in Liberia today, the U.S. made significant, financial donation towards the electoral process. Just recently, you heard Ambassador, the outgoing Ambassador Michael McCarthy, rallying financial support that hid in the absence of monetary support. The elections in Liberia, may not be credible. It tells you the level of interest these people have in the country. And then the question that comes up, what has Liberia benefited over the year? The infiltration of the Chinese, because you see a greater expansion of Chinese or China in Africa. They are all part of the continent. trying to grab. You go to Guinea, you go to Sierra Leone, you go to other parts of West Africa, you go to Central Africa, East Africa. The Chinese are there. You also have the Russians. So you have this competition that is going. But I can tell you, the relationship between Liberia and the United States remains inseparable. And it's like having one of your kids, and no matter how it goes, that person remains your child. And I think it's a good relationship. Yeah, with all the expansion China's, the Chinese can come in numbers. That relationship with Liberia and America remains unshakable. That's my perspective on that.
You muted, my friend.
You muted.
Mr. Padmore, happy birthday to you. You were born on Palm
Birthday to
Sunday.
you.
That is a great, 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 great day to be born. Thank God you were not born April 1st. So Palm Sunday is a better day to be born. But we love having you here. Happy birthday to you. I know we have our other partner, Mr. Eastman, also was born March the 31st, I think it was. So we got two beautiful birthdays. But yes, Mr. Padmore, they say in the old Bassa parlance, they say a man or a woman who have been burned by hot water, whenever you see water, you run. You don't even want to try whether it's cold or not. We have been burned before, and we have been decimated. As you can see, we have not recovered. What should we learn from this particular? We are the ugly girl in the school. Nobody wants you, but when there's no other hope around, then now everybody want to take you to the prom. Here we are, Liberia. We are now the hottest date on time. Everybody wants to take us to the prom. What should we be demanding? What did we learn from the Cold War and the Omega Tower debacle, where we are, and what should we be demanding? What demand should we be making now to the United States at this time?
Well, I don't know. I think demand is kind of a harsh word.
Absolutely.
I think we have an opportunity to do it better this time. I think we have an opportunity to avoid the mistakes of the past. Look, if we cannot sit here and say that when we were the darling of the West, America did not play its part. America invited Samuel Doe to Washington and gave him credence. When Samuel Doe returned from Washington, all other African leaders that wanted to go to Washington, they were called in Liberia. I mean, how you did it? How you managed to get over there? How you managed to have an audience with the great Ronald Reagan?
Yeah.
They also handed us a blank check. What did we do with that check? We started dividing among ourselves, sending it to foreign bank accounts instead of developing our country. What if we are taking that money and actually develop our country? What if we are taking that money and actually done an intercoastal highway all the way from Bo all the way across to Ivory Coast? Well, if we have finally because from the time we're born, they've been talking about the Ganta Hapa Highway. From the time we're born, and I've lived many years, they've been talking about that particular highway, Ganta Hapa Highway, Ganta Hapa Highway. Up to today, not finished yet. When we have finished that highway that connected Ivory Coast straight to Guinea, Ganta will be even bigger than what it is right now. Can you imagine the commercial activity that will be in Ganta today if there was a highway that ran from Guinea to Ivory Coast? So, I mean, we get salty about, they put treated all the way, when we were the darling, we had the opportunity. We didn't use the opportunity. Now that it looks like there might be a second time coming around, the question we should be asking ourselves, instead of what do we demand, is how do we use the opportunity to develop our country? We should not see the gravy train coming again. We're about to waste money again everywhere, everybody about to be millionaires again. No, it's how do we finally take Liberia out of the trenches of poverty, and turn it into a developing nation. That the day the people turn around again and say, "Who want you again?" We'll say, "Fine." The opportunity why you give us, we have done what we need to do. You can take your bag and go now. I mean, hopefully it never comes to that, but at least that should be our aim. That whether it's 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, we should take that opportunity to develop our country, develop our human resource, our young people, so that tomorrow, you see, when the Americans, when they left West Africa, Ghana didn't stop developing. Senegal didn't stop developing. There were countries that did not stop developing. And why was that? Because they laid down, they entrenched themselves in a certain foundation that when America left, they continued to develop. And so now when America looks, America sees Ghana before they even see us. You think it's because they understand Ghana? You think it's the historical? No. But you see, it's easier. It's easier. When somebody halfway there, it's easier to get into the endpoint than the people that are just starting, and we need to get started. So that's my thing. I don't think we should concentrate on what can we demand. More, we should be concentrating on how can we use this opportunity to finally launch Liberia, into where it's supposed to be.
Mr. Sandy.
Yes, sir.
I think you know a gentleman that wrote about the art of negotiation.
Okay.
When you are sitting at the table, put yourself in the shoes on the other side. In the back of your hand, back of your head. In the American parlance, we say you negotiate from the position of strength.
Absolutely.
As we are now, knowing that America is feeling the heat, you sitting across the table at that negotiation, you are facing the United States, and they are telling you, listen, we need your help. We want to build our base. We want to do this. We want to do that. What will you say to counter?
But look, like my brother Marcus said, when you go to negotiate, you have to come from the strength perspective. And in
I think we lost him. Mike, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay. Yeah, I think we lost him for a second.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me until he comes back. Let me pick up from there. What do I think? If America comes to us and say we want to build our base, you want to build your base? Great. Guess what? We do not have an American bank in Liberia. Can you believe that?
We had Chase. One time, remember? We had Chase.
We had Chase. We had Citizen. We had Citibank. Come on, man. When I was baby, when I was a young child growing up, we had Chase Manhattan Bank. We had a Citizen Bank. We had Citibank. And I just a few that I knew before they even brought the RTC Bank. Today, we do not have a single Liberian bank.
American bank.
We don't have a single American bank in Liberia. You understand what I mean? That's where our conversation should start. You have the largest diaspora group out of Liberia is in America. We send millions of dollars back to Liberia. We're going to be using Western Union, MoneyGram, SendWave. Really? You want to tell me I can't pick up my phone right now and send money to my bank in Liberia? No. Why? Because there's no American bank in Liberia. I can't. Why? There needs to be an American bank. Before we even start the conversation, before we start talking about military base and spy base and all this thing, we need an American bank in Liberia. We need a bank strong that can bolster the economy. We need those things. Look, let me tell you a story. I went to Liberia, and I was in the center of town. I ran out of cash. So I took my card, my Bank of America card. I went to one of the ATM just there and put my card in the ATM. They said, we rejected. I said, but I got money in the bank. Why are not giving money out? So I pick up the phone. I call my bank. I said, look, I'm trying to take money out of my account, and it's telling me, no access to funds. And the woman said, hold on 1 second. And she asked me, she said, are you in Nigeria? I said, no. I'm in Liberia. And then she said, hold on 1 second. And then she came back. She said, oh, Mr. Padmo, I'm so sorry. But the ATM that you are using, it belongs to a Nigerian bank. And we do not do business with Nigerian banks. Don't want to be straight. She said, we do not do business with Nigerian banks. Why isn't there a Liberian bank in Liberia right now? Why? All the money that you said is spending in Liberia. Why isn't there an American bank? So I keep saying Liberian bank. Why isn't there an American bank in Liberia? What when you go in Liberia, when you look at the US money, it almost shreds in your hand. You know why it's like that? Because we do not have an American bank in Liberia. If we had an American bank in Liberia, that money would be swapped out fast, very fast. Why don't we have that? So for me, I feel like when they come to the table with all of the things that they want, we need to come to the table with things that we believe will move Liberia forward. That's the kind of conversation we need to have. How many Liberian students, how many Peace Corps officers are in Liberia right now? Teaching. When you and I were younger growing up, every 10 you should see the white guy passing around.
Yeah.
They were teaching Liberian teachers. There was an exchange. How many Liberians? My mother went to college in the US. Poor pastor woman. But guess what? There was a scholarship. She came to Michigan State University and got her degree. How many other Liberians that were able to come and get their degrees and go back home and add to the society? Why don't we have that active exchange anymore? So what I'm saying to you is that when they come with the what they want to do, whether it's a SPA network, whether it's a base, we need to come equally with how we can move Liberia forward. And that's just one example right there.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sharing the show. Let me recognize a few folks here. Judith, Williamore, Archimore, Fredericks, Judy, Williamore again, Martin Manor. We got Ashwa, is that Ashwa here? Rachel Hammer, Jerry Sumo, Elvis Morris, Taz Connie, Toga Johnson, Glenda Jones Jr., Edward Hall, my brother from Forceville, Grand Bassa County, Noel Brown, Sua Mapu, thank you for turning in, Houston Brooks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sharing the show and sending for 20E. Your comments will be read. We can't read them all, but we'll read as many as we can. Mr. Sandy, I know you went off a little bit. Now let's segue into this. Earlier, when we started the show, it was not by mistake that we played a song from the CDC. Next week we are going to play a song from the ANC and Unity Party and all that. The reason we play that is to segue into what we are doing here. The next one, in America here, we do polls, and usually it is determined by something we call enthusiasm poll. When I was working for the Barack Obama camp in 2008, 2009, one of the things that I look at was how enthusiastic are the Democrats in the Florida area. How enthusiastic are the people about Barack in the battleground state? You mentioned that. When you are looking at the CDC, the headquarters, every time they are doing something new, they want the new thing, the new phenomenon today is that the megaphone megaphone sedition. Everybody that is a sedition that is advocating for the CDC will have a megaphone. It's symbolic, it is very powerful, but you can feel the enthusiasm. Now, talk to me. I think Mr. Padmo will chime in later on when we talk about enthusiasm in the crowd. Before we go to the next topic, what do you make of enthusiasm when it comes to electorates?
A very interesting question. The enthusiasm. First, let's take a closer look at the individuals When you watch the videos, who are the people you see? Predominantly, you see young people. And from my own critical analysis of what I see a group of young people that are being exploited by the system. One of the foremost challenges we have in Liberia is extreme poverty. Most of the guys you see singing, who do you support? Who will you be? I mean, the CDC is about somebody wanting something in return. The people are in survival mode. We have extreme poverty into this Liberia as compared to previous years. That's what studies have shown. You have a leadership in place that pay little or no attention to the well-being of its people. You have a leadership, you have a president that has no clue what is obtaining in a country. The country is gradually eroding. You see the decline, significant decline. And so they are throwing chicken change here and there to mobilize. Most of these people you see in the street dancing and all of that, if you talk to some of these guys on one-on-one, I have seen a couple of videos where individuals opening or saying that they are willing to resist this current administration. So everything you see out there is taxpayers' money being used for the wrong purpose. That's what happened in Liberia. They're not doing it because they love Mr. Weah so much. People want to live.
Yeah, but
Extreme poverty.
Mr. Sandy, you're saying they've been exploited. I think you and I may have come from the generation where 1978, 79, I was at the Bassel High School and I could see myself dancing for the PAL, the People's Alliance of Liberia, Bacchus Matthew, were chanting and saying these same things. So were we exploited too?
Of course, and I can speak to that. It's good that you raised that, Mr. Gayman. When you and I were growing up in Liberia those days, when the Bacchus Matthews and the others, the PA, the PPP, and whatever, when those guys were staging protests, a good number of all participated in those protests because we had no clue what those people actually wanted to do. We just we acted impulsively. We just did it spontaneously. We just wanted to be a part of the group. We did it as a result of peer pressure. And that's what is also happening in today's Liberia. That's what I said. Look at the individuals who are out there chanting all these slogans. A good number of them are young people. They don't understand what they're doing. The ability to comprehend what is obtaining in the country, a good number of them have a limited understanding. They have a limited understanding of the implications, the negative implications of re-electing Mr. Weah. A good number of them don't know what they're doing. So these people are taking advantage of. Haven't you seen people throwing money here and there? Haven't you seen videos?
Great. Mr. Padmore, as somebody from the ANC or from the opposition, or maybe not from the opposition, but as from an organizational standpoint, in America, we say something called the wave. You ride a wave.
Yeah.
What is stopping other entities from riding the young, like you say, enthusiastic, unfocused, no directional young folks? What's stopping other folks from tapping into that wave?
Well, I don't know if I will say stopping them. But for the last, how many years are we speaking of now? 20
Almost
years?
6 years. Oh, okay.
For the last 20 years, CDC has built this base of young, like all the adjectives you give these young people. CDC has built this base. So it's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that happens overnight. CDC is right now is only cashing in on what they have invested in 20 years. Look, when you look at the Democratic Party, there are certain groups that will not leave the Democratic Party. Those who believe in or Roe v. Wade abortion, they're not going to leave the Democratic Party. Those who believe in same-sex marriage are not going to leave the Democratic Party. There are certain things that parties invest in that they become a part of them, you know. And for CDC, that is it. There are young people who want that. They feel excitement in that, you know. CDC brands themselves around that. If you and I go to the CDC headquarters, you and I will not get in a circle and be chanting. We will not. We will be the older people, you know. We will sit back. We allow the young people to do that. The reason why CDC does that because it attracts the young people. Young people like to do those kind of things. It's like a football. It's like a football, you know. And I see CDC when they get together, it looks like they're about to play a football match. That's how it looks to me. It takes me back to my high school days, my elementary days, when we used to go play football. We get in the bus and we start singing and going to the game. Whether we the most physical team, it doesn't matter. Yeah. You know, we all wanted to be in that spirit of. That's why I see CDC. That's how they have branded themselves. You know, and so now they are cashing in on that investment. Here's the thing, though. The people that started this thing in 2003, they are no longer 18, 19, 20 years old. They are now 35, 40, 45 years old. They have children. They have households. They are struggling. They are struggling. Reality has set in. When you're 18, you're 17, 18, 19, and you're there singing, you got nothing, man. But when you 35, 40 years old and you get 3 children to the house, you have a wife, you don't have a job, you get up every morning, you cannot walk and go to a job. At the end of the month, you cannot take pay. Life doesn't seem like it's going somewhere for you. When getting in that group and singing now, it's no longer fun anymore. No. So what CDC does, try to bring on more young people. Because we can't bring the 40-year-old anymore. So we'll bring more of the 17, 18-year-old. And that's what you see over there. That's all you see over there. You know, sadly, we've seen this time and time. We saw it, like you said, we saw it in 1979. We saw it 1985.
1980, 1980, yes, all of that. Yeah. We're in the streets, jubilating. You born, control more. Born soya, yeah.
And they take more born soya.
Yeah.
You know, 1985 election. Come on, 1985 election. What NDPL did in Liberia. Yeah. Man, everybody thought NDPL had won. And we all know they lost. You know? And we know, so we've seen this thing numerous times. Charles Taylor did it. Yeah. You came on mine, you came on. So we've seen this. You know, the misuse of the youth. You know, that's why T. Ebenezer Ward, he made this famous quote that the greatest danger to the Liberian democracy is the illiteracy of the Liberian youth. Absolutely. And he was spot on. And he made this almost 50 years ago. He saw this almost 50 years, that if we don't educate our young people, it will threaten our democracy. You know? And that's where we find ourselves today.
Great analysis. Now, let's segue into...
Mr. Gayman,
go ahead.
I just wanted to piggyback on what Marcus said. He's absolutely right. Illiteracy. One of the foremost challenges we have in Liberia is the high level of illiteracy. People lacking the ability to even understand what is happening around them. And if you do not have the ability of what is happening around you, then you will not be able to formulate a vision. When the CDC, when Mr. Weah and his people started this whole campaign of taking on to the leadership of Liberia, did they propose any idea? Of course not. But people just act in the moment. Illiteracy. They prey on our young people, the illiterate young people, and at the same time, they're throwing $1 or $2 to few people. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, and great analysis. Let's segue into the next one. The president came to the U.S. and then to the UAE. And since the president returned, the people from the opposition are saying the president owes the Liberian people at least an explanation as to the trip. What happened? Why did he come to this to the meeting? What did we benefit from it? For now, the president and the administration are very tight-lipped. The opposition are saying the CDC or we citizens we love photos and videos. Everywhere we go, we take photos. We love to share. We love to grin. We love to wear our caps, our military hat, our beret. What's happening to this particular trip? They are demanding that we give an explanation. Does the president owe the Liberian people an explanation, blow by blow, play by play explanation of what this trip was all about?
Absolutely, Jerome. When you occupy the office of the presidency, not even forget about the presidency, when you are in public office, you become answerable to the taxpayers. Mr. Weah, his leadership, the entire CDC are answerable to the people of Liberia. The trip he and his delegation made to the United States, that trip was funded by Liberians. It's like the three of us here. Gayman, when you take a trip, don't you tell your bosses what came from out of that? If it was financed by your bosses, if it was a business trip, you have an obligation to tell them. The people of Liberia are Mr. Weah's what? Employer. They are Mr. Weah's employer. They're employing. So he has an obligation, his administration has an obligation to tell the people why he came to the United States. The trip President Weah made to the United States was very unusual. Never in the history of Liberia. Going to do some research on that. Never. No Liberian president has ever been invited by the CIA directly. Our invitation comes through the State Department. This in the run, it was an invitation that came directly from the CIA, asking him to come. When he came, up to now, you and I, we have no official pronouncement from the government as to what was discussed, what was the trip about. Prior to his coming, the executive mansion issued a press release telling Liberians that Mr. Weah was coming to the United States to meet with high-powered U.S. officials. Did we see that happening? Besides going to Langley, where we are told some of the key lieutenants were even barred from being a part of that meeting. Since then, nothing. What did the government do? In order to report something to the people of Liberia, they decided to go to the UAE. And where they concocted this whole deal about $50 billion deal. They say at least this way will make our people to believe that we accomplished something. Of course not. Of course not. $50 billion for a carbon deal? That's falsehood. It was the creation of Samuel Tuer. Did you hear the Minister of Information, Leju Rennie, speak to that? Did the press secretary to Mr. Weah, did you hear him speak about that? It was the creation of Mr. Tuer. This is the guy who believes that he's more of a minister than all of the other guys in the government. So it tells you the kind of society we have today.
Well,
you know? So Mr. Weah, to wrap it up quickly, Mr. Weah and his administration are on a legal, moral, and professional obligation to tell the people of Liberia why did he come to the United States and what came from out of that discussion.
Great.
Yeah.
Joe Manjala, Hashim Famule, Stephen Slaw, Rufus Flomo, Derek Poor, you are welcome. Thank you very much for tuning in. Mr. Padmore, here we are when President Biden goes abroad. You live in the United States, so does Mr. Sandy. When Biden go abroad and come, I've never seen Mr. Sandy on his prolific highly intellectual show asking the White House, why did the president go to when he went to China or when he went to the G7 summit, what was discussed there, why he didn't come back to brief us, to tell us what happened, why he don't tell us what happened. We don't ask this. Why is George Weah being asked when he goes somewhere, he should come and tell us exactly what happened, especially at a very powerful meeting as that in Langley.
Come on now, Jerome. The reason why Mr. Senni doesn't ask that, because all Mr. Senni has to do is to go onto the White House website and he will be able to find out everything from there.
Yeah.
When President Biden left, when he arrived in China, what was his cost? Who he met? He will be able to get videos from out of there. You'll be able to get press bulletins from out of there. You'll be able to get information on when Biden came back. What are the future plans moving forward? If he's going to go back or if the Chinese leader is going to come here, all that thing will be displayed for Mr. Senni on the White House website. Yeah. So he won't even have to ask Biden. What we have seen, one of the great struggles of this administration has been what I like to call division of labor. You know, who handles the information of the government? Sometimes we see Samuel Toy come and he just puts on this robe of information minister and just puts out information. Sometimes we see Eugene Namwe come and do the same thing. We do not see a systematic output of information. I think the last person that did that, I will reluctantly give him some credit, was Fagon.
Yeah.
When he was at Ministry of Information, there were press briefings that were scheduled on a weekly basis. And he will bring in different arms of the government to discuss different things that were going on. Right now, what I hear, I don't even know if it's true or not, they said the president is speaking to the information minister. If we want to know what the president did today, we got to go look on Carrasco Facebook. Yeah. Because Carrasco now is the official photographer of the president. That is a paid position. The historian, the presidential historian and photographer is a paid position. That should be a professional journalist placed in that role to document and to capture the presidency of George Weah. That tomorrow he can give that to the Liberian people. I mean, books should be written on that. Who do we have doing that? Carrasco from his phone. This is where it lies. The legacy of President George Weah is in Carrasco's phone. Hopefully, he's saving it to the cloud. But if he lost that phone, they're finished. You know, these are just basic things, you know, that the government has struggled to do. I don't know why. I do not know why it has been that way. You know, Nathaniel McGill basically ran the government for about 4 years. When he left, nobody has stepped into that role. I don't know if you've noticed that. Things are just going kind of helter-skelter. No, there's no one point that the government works from. So you get counter information that counters each other. They're not accurate. You know, it's not done well, and it's hard for me to believe that there are not Liberians who know how to do that and do that well. Why hasn't the president brought those people on to do that job? Those kind of jobs they're not partisan jobs. Those are professional jobs. Absolutely. Professional. Why have you brought Liberians on to do that job? You are the presidential historian. You do your own work. You know, you are the Minister of Information. You do your work. People are professional. Liberians are professional enough that they know their job. They will put on them. And if they're able to do it, they will tell you. Say, Mr. President, you know what? The way the government going, I ain't will. Thank you. I will find somebody else. You know, but to have it's so unorganized. is so unorganized, and they have not been able to get it together. You know, and because of that, so we have things like this, where we don't know what the president did, we don't know who he met, we don't know the result of it. Look, we are all big boys here. You know, Mr. Sandy is here, Mr. Gayman. We're all big boys.
Oh, yeah.
You think the president can tell us exactly what happened? No. He just needs to give us a plausible story.
Right.
That's all.
No, we're talking about being organized. The ANC that lost $70,000. Even now, in 6 months, we don't know.
So, man, you're picking up fight with Marco now?
No, listen. I'm here to tell him I don't even know what happened to the $70,000. I went to the ANC website. I didn't see where the $70,000 went. Who stole the money? When the police report was filed, who's in jail? None of that stuff. We're talking about $70,000 and a small group of folks.
Since you brought that up, let me give you a quick update.
You guys cannot even manage that. You're talking about a whole country that the president is managing.
Let me give you a quick update.
There you go.
The president,
go ahead.
The police.
You see, I couldn't find it on your website. Go ahead, update.
Because it's an active investigation.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't put an active investigation on the website.
ANC and opposition are not ready.
It's okay.
It's okay, Mr. Gayman.
It's okay.
It's too big for y'all.
It's okay, Mr. Gayman.
Update on what his team is.
It's okay, Mr. Gayman. It's okay. It's okay. That, you see, let me tell you something. There is free advice to the whole CDC organization. Instead of hitting back, take the time to correct yourselves.
Absolutely.
That's what you need to do.
And that's true. And Jerome, let me just piggyback on what Michael said, right? Look, as a student of communication, I can tell you, the current Minister of Information, Ledger Hureni, is a friend and brother. He's a career journalist. He's competent. He has all of the pedigrees as a communicator to tell the government of Liberia's story. But what is happening in the administration is that we have a fractured communication team. You have the Minister of Finance, who believes that he's more of a communicator than the Minister of Information is. You have Eugene Nambe, who has the maritime program. Can you imagine? Commissioner Maritime Program. And he comes, he wants to speak for the government. When you have an official spokesman of the government, Minister of Information, you have an aide. I mean, tell me, an aide. Someone you tell the people to bring my food. And the man is taking on the role of telling stories for the office of the president. That's an embarrassment.
Oh, Mr. Sandy, let me hold you up.
That's an embarrassment.
Mr. Sandy,
yes.
This is why the press union, the press is against President Weah, and you are the arrowhead. You are the arrowhead.
Jerome, this is not. I
don't want to say. I'm a registered Republican. When things go wrong, what do? We blame the press. We say the press is against us. That's what I'm going to do to you. You, the press, all the guys in the journalist industry, you're against one president we are, and you got. Now tell me, when Jimmy Barrow was butler for the president, wasn't he more powerful? What's about Wellington Campbell? What's about Bertrand Bestman? What are you talking about?
Jerome. When Jimmy Barrow was a butler to the president, he did not speak for Liberia. Never. Let's go back into history. As I was saying, you have an aide whose job is to make sure that the man's suitcase is ready to travel, to move things, not to tell presidential stories. Whenever a story breaks, he's the first who takes to social media, undercutting the work of the Minister of Information, undercutting the work of the presidential press secretary.
Yeah.
And the president says nothing. The president doesn't speak to the country.
Mr. Sandy,
Yes.
Sandy, we had a proliferation of information and media as have never been before.
Okay, so,
and in the United States, we have the same thing. The press, the White House has the press secretary, defense got their own press secretary.
Absolutely.
Every department has, so they create their own. Okay,
but
so
do you see the aid?
Why are you beating up on this poor innocent hard-working?
Because he's doing what he's not supposed to do. That doesn't fall within his a job or prescription. That is not what he was hired for.
And he doesn't do it well either.
No, he's not. The man better speaks English, and you cannot be a communication person when you don't speak English.
There you
go.
know.
No, but I'm just telling you, Mr. Jerome, I'm telling you that we have role conflict in the government. Everybody jumping here and there. You cannot have the Minister of Finance acting as Minister of Information when you got somebody who is being paid to do that. But this is happening because we have a president who has little or no clue in terms of what is happening in his own government. Mr. Weah is alone. He's disengaged. He doesn't talk to his people. He's not interested in details. He's not meticulous.
No, Mr. Sandy, let me disagree with you. I think the thing is that you guys are stuck in the old way of doing things.
Okay.
That you do not want to believe that the man has his own style of leadership. He has his own style of communication. Okay. And you are just stuck in the Tubman way of doing things. You and Pat Moore. You guys come from the
Michael, you take it from there.
What happened in America?
Let me do this here now. Because you come from the Tubman era, Tubman baby, Tubman kids. You think that things should be, those days are gone. But before going to this though, let me just segue to the next one you can answer. We have this phenomenon now called the closing argument.
Yes.
And I'm bringing this up because it ties right into the communications and all of that.
Yeah.
Here we are. We had, like me, I am a proponent of the proliferation of podcasts, information. Everybody that needs to give information, that have it, should give it. You are doing a great job on your show. We are doing a great job. Spoon came up, and I was one of those who were praising the Spoon Network for what they have done in a short period of time. And then within that, something happened. And there is a split. Now we have seen the original 4 guys who were with Spoon have now come up with something called the closing argument. When you look at the closing argument, it gave you, for some of us that are nostalgic, that wanted to see the original Spoon, that is the original Spoon that was credible, information-driven, argumentative, partisanship, all into one. All of a sudden, we are seeing that even Mr. Spoon himself, whether he is threatened, I think so, because someone who is on a gag order or on a house arrest to have taken the chance to come on his show to lambast and accuse and throw jab at the other folk, tells us that the original Spoon TV has now shifted, moved to another platform, and is causing disturbance. Mr. Padmore, I know you and I, we are great student of the Spoon Network. We praised them for what they were doing, and it was great. And all of a sudden, it just dissipated. But it looks like the closing argument, that's the American way. There's nothing new here in America. They just make it better. They clone and make it better. Mr. Padmore, this is becoming ugly.
Well, no, I mean, I think what we're seeing is natural. It's a natural phenomenon. Such programs, just like Focus on Liberia, we are seeing that that just an evolution of such phenomena. I would not be shocked, right, if a year from now, even in the closing argument, people break away from there and start their own shows. That is the evolution of life, most of the people we see now, especially in media, they started somewhere, you know, and when they got to a certain height, they said, no, I'm going to break off on my own and I'm going to give this a shot. You know, we see it in the music industry, the same thing, you know. Most of them start off in church. And after a certain time, when they've established themselves, they break up and they go into contemporary music. So it's just an evolution of things that's happening. And if you cannot evolve, you will die out. That, you know, I mean, that's been, you know, the story of man. You know, if you cannot adapt, and you cannot evolve, you will die out. So that's what we are seeing right now. I think once people can find a way to do it bigger, do it better, be more interesting, and you know, and attract the natural audience, they will survive, and those who cannot will naturally die out. And you know, and so yeah, you know, I mean, we're all watching. You know, that's the that's our nature. We know we are. Man is political by nature, so we are all gravitated to that. We have set high expectations, and we'll see if they can live up to that. If they can, then you know they have a good thing going. If they cannot, we will definitely turn to something that can. You know, who knew we'll all be on Facebook? You know, 20 years ago, we didn't have an inkling. You know, that this is where we'll be, and this is where, even when the White House wants to get information out there, the White House has a Facebook page. They have a Twitter link. You know, that, like you said, that's where things are going, you know. To spin things back to where you try to get us off, you know. Look, nobody is hooked on Tottenham. You know, the White House does a briefing. The White House press secretary does a briefing with journalists, with the White House media corps.
Yeah.
You know, almost on a daily basis, and informs them on what is happening in the White House. Sometimes the president walks out and speaks to the press and takes questions from them. Man, look, if you can, look, what, you know, the president has struggled with communication. A smart leader always surround himself with people that can augment, that can complement where he struggles. If you struggle with communication, bring in a communicator that can fill that void. That you don't got to talk anymore. You don't have to say a word anymore. That communicator will fill that void for you, that everything will be on course. And this president has struggled to do those things. It shows a blemish of his leadership. So yeah, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Great, Mr. Sandy.
Yeah.
Mr. Pat was saying he is the Darwin of the world now. Okay, if you can adapt, you will die out. Original spoon dying out because from what I'm saying now, it looks like somebody who is drowning and trying to gain attention by
trying to grab on anything.
Grab on anything because I see Jerome come here saying things that just outlandish now. What it meant, Fangon, they're bringing all kinds of folks, and no matter how outlandish they got, this closing argument came on jail 2 days. They had just appeared twice, and all of a sudden, they are not credible. They are crooks. 5 million, 50 million,
no, $50,000,
50K. Isn't this is why most people don't like what we do in media, that we are not credible. We are easily bought, whether it is true or not.
Yeah, but look, I would not say the closing argument is a reincarnation of Spoon Network or Spoon Talk. Is a new brand, and the guys who are behind it, I think from the onset, like you said, I think they are doing a commendable job. But let's go into the historicity of what is obtaining, right? A few months ago, Mr. Waterspoon, the CEO, when he got hooked by the federal for conniving with others in this whole fake diploma the issuance of diplomas to individuals claiming to be nurses, practical nurses, and registered nurses. They sold over 7,600 diplomas and allegedly earned 114 million US dollars. That's a lot of money. Right now, as you and I talk, Mr. Spoon and the others are being investigated. In fact, this month, he's supposed to appear in court. So that just draw his entire credibility into question. When the story broke, you can do the searches. I was talking to you, I was the first to raise the red flag. I told Mr. Spoon publicly that he needed to recuse himself from the show because his name has become a distraction. He cannot be bringing in Jerome Gayman to ask him what happening with the money donated hypothetically to FOL. What happening to that money when he said he's being investigated for reported fraud? So I say, hey, Mr. Spoon, you need to step aside. Your situation has drawn the credibility of the show into question. Just as I proposed, Mr. Ben Sanvi, Peabody, Kefansan, and the others, or Tomalin George, they made similar proposal. They say, hey, my man, we propose that you step aside because this is becoming difficult for us to do. It was becoming difficult for them to do because while this guy was being investigated, nobody sat on the network to even tell the people of Liberia that he was being investigated. That's hypocrisy. You can't be telling other people's story. When your story break out, then you tell the people, say, you look the other way. To cut it short, he said he wasn't prepared for anyone to talk about his situation on the show. So the colleagues decided to walk away because they felt that their credibility was also in question. And that's the truth of the matter. When they step aside in less than 2 weeks, what did Mr. Spoon do? The very thing the guys proposed, the very thing that I initially raised, he did that. He talked to the airwave. He said, hey, I recuse myself. I resign my position. Titi Kane will now be the new CEO. Then while we're trying to juggle with that, he comes up with this whole $50,000 claim. Yes, he may be saying the truth, but the timing, the optics just not good for him. How can someone who has been investigated for fraud come and tell me that he refused $50,000? He doesn't have the credibility. He may be speaking the truth, but nobody will easily buy into that. In journalism, that's what we call the medium is the message. If you the messenger, you are not credible, then how do you expect us to expect the message to be credible? So for now, Mr. Spoon has no credibility. He can say whatever he wants to say. He's creating more problems for himself. In fact, he's making the guys more popular now. The closing argument, he has elevated the numbers. He has elevated the numbers because he has no credibility. He just needs to remain quiet, focus on his legal matter, recuse himself from public, discussion because he has nothing to defend at the moment. He has credibility problem. If he never had credibility problem, he will not be probed by the FBI. So that would be my take on it.
Mr. Padmore, during the original Spoon's height, they were so hot that a regular person like you and myself offering $50,000 for the entire year or that doesn't make sense. They were at a pace of, let's say, $1 million company. Everybody were competing to be on there, including at one time I saw Estella Metal Steel. I saw some major corporation branding themselves there or buying an ad. For someone to say the government gave me $50,000, I just found out to me that, I mean, for a guy who is worth that much money, 50,000 to me would have been an insult to say they want to buy me out and they offer me $50,000. It's a Padmo.
Well, I mean, now that we look at it, when could the government afford more? That's a question. People offer what they can afford. Could the government afford more? Who knows? Was it $50,000 for the entire year? Was it $50,000 per month? Who knows? It wasn't really clear. It was more of he was just kind of ranting. And so it really wasn't clear what he was saying. But I tell you this, the two things that made Spoon TV, Spoon Network very effective was, one, they were consistent. They were on 5-6 days a week, the same time every day.
7 days.
Just about 7 days.
Yeah, because on Sunday he got God can bless anybody. Remember?
Yeah, and then he had another thing he should do.
That's when you were dishing out money to people. Yeah.
Yeah, and the second thing, the second thing was that he gave a persona of having money, and he was successful. People like to be around successful people.
Yeah,
it's a natural thing. People want to be around successful people. So guess what? When he went to Liberia, he could set appointment with every major player, and they took those appointments. I can do that. I got to start going through the assistant, the deputy assistant, the assistant to the deputy assistant, but he could just reach out.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. People like those kind of things. All right? And that's where other people kind of struggle with. Nobody got money to that. Nobody got money to fly an entire delegation to Liberia, set them up in Boulevard Hotel, have security, a fleet of cars, he took that Donald Trump persona and put it out there. And people like that. People gravitate to that.
Of course.
If you get money in your pocket.
Yeah.
If people see that, they gravitate to that, And that's what made it. That's why when they started talking, ministers will call, deputy ministers will call, companies will call. Oh, Spoon saying something. I got to go there and counter. I got to go there and clarify. When's the last time you saw a member of government on the Spoon Network? They don't go there anymore.
No, they don't.
And so therefore now when they are giving information, it's one-sided. The reason why people went there was because I would be sitting there, all of a sudden somebody would call me or text me. Say, oh, Samuel 12 on Spoon. So I got to stop what I'm doing now.
Yeah,
or even if I'm in my office, I got to grab my phone and because I want to hear what Samuel 12 got to say. You see what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. And Prince Johnson on Spoon, and Edwin Snow on Spoon, and
Joel Howard Taylor
for the bomb to drop.
Yeah, right.
And so that was their secret,
Wow.
If any media house can replicate that right now, they will shoot to the top. If you can get guests like that on and have breaking news, that you can call it. Yeah, breaking news.
Bombshell.
Yeah, bombshell, breaking news.
Well,
you'll be at the top, You'll be at the top. What brought our brother Henry Costa to such media relevance? Because he could bring out information that nobody
stories.
had.
Yeah.
He could bring out stories that nobody had. And so that's what brought him. If Henry Costa got on social media in the middle of the day, he will have 4,000 to 5,000 people listening. Because we know that Henry Costa does not get on radio or on social media in the middle of the day. If he's getting on, it's bombshell.
Yeah.
And so that the people want information, and we'll bring it all the way back again. I'll keep cycling it back because the government has failed at informing the people and having a strong information on all these. That's why all these people exist.
That's true.
That's why all these people exist. Half of the information they gave up is not true. It's false, fake news. But people gravitate to it because when you create a vacuum, like the government has done, you get space for such things. That's why Steno come out and say, Samuel Toy give me offer me $50,000 to do this.
Yeah.
It's a vacuum. You can say what you want to say.
Yeah.
And some people believe it. Does the government have a counter argument to it? We haven't seen it yet.
The Sandy.
Yes,
now,
sir.
We are talking about real quick before we go to our comment and take some calls.
Yeah.
We have another sister station that dug deeper and called me and told us how the rating thing and the viewership works.
Yeah.
And he sat on his show and were able to pay. He says, my viewership is around 129, but watch it go to 2,000. He went in the Bribery, did something, and when he came back, 2,247. He said, do you want 5,000? I said, yes. He went back, came back, 5,227. And it just kept going up and up and up and up. And then when he got off the show, they show up, but we still had it 5,227.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a part of the marketing scheme that when people look at the viewership and see 5,000, 7,000, people say, oh yeah, I gotta go because a lot of people are on it, but we just found out that it was a facade.
Yeah.
And I don't blame it. It's part of the marketing because Costa used to say, you have to watch me because I got 7,000 people will tune in immediately when you give me money or when you appear on my show. It happened when Dr. Alan White, he promoted our show. He said Alan White will come on. When Alan White came on, his viewership went from 300 to I think it was like 7,800 in no time.
Yeah.
So people begin to be puzzled until these folks now started saying, listen, we know exactly how it works. And people have called us and say, listen, you can boost your viewership if you pay this amount. This is how, and we got all the information here.
Yeah.
Where you go, you can subscribe and pay. And in the Philippines and India, they got warehouses full of computers and they all can tune in at the right price.
Yeah.
So tell me, isn't this part of the deception? And when you're talking about we are gullible, the young folks in Liberia are gullible and people are taking advantage of them.
Absolutely.
Aren't we so gullible to gossip it, to say the bad thing about Michael Patmore that people would do anything to tune in just to do that or to pay to have the facade that people are watching?
Yeah, that's true. And in fact, we also run a podcast called The Issues Room. When we started 2 years ago, we were hitting, 3,000, 4,000. The minimum viewership we had was 1,005. But we noticed in recent times, right, we would be on the show and our viewership will begin to decline. And sometimes you're seeing like 30% watching.
Mm-hmm.
But when the show ends, you got over 200 or 300 persons that were actually watching.
Mm-hmm.
Because what is happening now, I don't know whether it is working on Facebook. And, people are literally buying views. You pay the money in less than 5 minutes, you weigh in the thousands. And that is undermining the honest podcasters. Like you now, Jerome, you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to have a very interesting discussion today. You want to do a professional piece of job and do it to the best of your ability. You're not concerned about, going to pay money to somebody, So the guys who want to watch your show, they come that you got only 5 presents because that's what Facebook is telling them. They say, oh, well, you know what? It seems that he's not ready to discuss anything interesting. This is the problem that we're all having. Sometimes we got 15 presents. Well, actually, we got more than that. Mm-hmm. But Facebook put us at 15 or put you at 100 when you get almost 1,000 people watching you. I'm sure the same thing with you. The same market.
So what you are saying here is that it is set up to force you to buy views.
Into
the market.
Yeah, you are buying views.
Yeah, Mr. Patmore. Mr. Patmore.
He's mute.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what Honorable Sandy is saying here, it looks like the algorithm of Facebook have figured it out that billions of people are watching on the different media platform, and the way to gain the market share is to suppress, because we have experienced that. All of a sudden, everybody calling Michael Patton say, "I can't get your show anymore." Every time Tony, I can't get it. What's happening? Everybody facing that. Facebook is deliberately doing that so you can have no choice but to pay to have your viewership or to have that, especially if you are into advertising, because advertisers want to
see your numbers.
They want to see your number. They want to make sure that if they are selling popcorn, that they sell it to a huge amount of folks. Facebook makes sure that that number doesn't appear, but then when you leave your show, then the actual number show, when you go by a dinner, you see 1.5 thousand people, 2,000 people show. So it is a marketing scheme that most of us are falling prey to. But giving your hard-earned money, like even the Spoon, according to the guys on the show, according to Mr. Spoon himself, when they started, they were having actual numbers and he was paying their handsomely.
See that?
And as they began, the expenses began to go up. And I want to believe is the viewership and all of that. He couldn't afford it anymore, and he wasn't paying them the stopping that he was paying them, which was like $450, $500 a month, a week, or something like that.
A week.
Yeah, a week. So all of these things happen. So Facebook now is basically forcing us or forcing those who own platform to pay them to give you your own viewership.
But look, we have to understand something. Facebook is not a social group.
You want to make money?
Facebook is a business. There are people who have become millionaires on Facebook.
That's right. Free.
Yes. What doing anything? What giving Facebook $5? They've used the platform to become millionaires. You tell me now, would you say that let anybody do that to your platform? you are a businessman.
You want to make some money too.
You need something. You don't know we're not going to keep doing that. There are people on YouTube, on Twitter, the same thing. They have 2 million followers. You know, they are living large. They are getting money. I don't know if you heard about this kid, this African kid that used to make these funny videos. He wouldn't speak. He never spoke. But his videos, you know, he make these short videos. I forgot his name. I try to remember his name. I forgot his name. But he would just make these short video skits, just common sense video skits. And just like that, his numbers went to the millions of people that were following him, watching his videos. All of a sudden, the company started paying him. You know, now the kid's a millionaire.
And
Facebook is like, where my card? You use my network, you use my software, you use everything. Where my card? So I understand. But you know, look, people can knock Stanton or any other media house for they bought views, they did it. Look, if you are a business, you do what it takes to be successful.
Absolutely.
Right? They say what? They say success. What is it?
Success doesn't come by easily?
Huh? No. Failure is an offering.
Okay.
Yeah, failure is an offering.
Success breeds success. That's
Nobody want to be if you have a program and you're only 13 on.
People say
I look at another program in the 2000. I want to go find out what the 2,000 people listening to.
That's it.
When I 13, why someone at 13 gonna tell me? I remember as a young guy in school when Coca-Cola wanted to introduce cherry Coke. You know what they did? They went from school to school and they gave free soft drink to everybody. Free soft drink. We thought it was crazy. My man put every free soft drink. We go and drink. We just get in line. When we get to the front, we drink. We thought we go back to the line.
If you're down the side, I pulled up, man.
Yes. But today, every vending place look, you see Cherry Coke.
Yeah.
They spend money to gain money.
Yeah.
That business. Nobody can tell me that Spoon Network did not have audience. They had audience.
Oh, they did, yeah.
Of course.
They did, yeah.
But maybe to get to that audience, they had to make themselves a little popular.
Yeah.
You know, and they did what they had to do. I'm not going to fault them for it.
No.
They did what they had to do. If they didn't have substance, they were not going to continue to build on their you know, on their network. Now they've lost a certain degree of, you know, of that pizzazz and flash and everything. Now the challenge is, can they reinvent themselves?
That's it.
They've tried. I think they still have work to do, you know. Can they reinvent themselves? If they can reinvent themselves, like a phoenix, they'll rise from the ashes and everybody will be watching it again. You know, maybe they need to change their name from Spoon. Maybe they need to revamp the whole program because that Spoon name has been tinted.
Yeah.
So even if you change all the faces, and every time we look at it, we see Spoon on top.
Yeah.
And every now and then, we see Spoon count on. For us, it tells us that man's still in control. He's still pulling the strings. He's still in the back. He's still the puppet master. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all those things, man. You know what I mean? Look, we go MSNBC, CNBC, all these people, they don't start all like that. They continue to revamp themselves. They continue to rebrand themselves. That's what you have to do. You have to keep putting new things out there for people. If they can do that, they'll be around. If they can't, like I said, they will die out. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't fault them. Just don't do anything illegal.
Right. There you go. Because
you
remember when we way back in the 80s, we had different AT&T and American Telegraph and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they began to overcharge, and the federal government went after them. And then they went from there, they rebranded. Now they went to they're Comcast and all that. They went from AT&T to Bell, American Bell. Then they cut it out to Baby Bell, Bell South, Bell North, and all that. And then finally Comcast and all that. So
now they're Xfinity.
Right, Xfinity. Now there was no criminality, not like, you know, because when you look at Michael Milcom, the junk bong man. In the 70s and 80s, junk bong was the thing. But when he got convicted and went to jail for killing, basically because millions of people had an investment in that, he stole their money. He killed a lot of people. Some people died from a heart attack. Their entire life savings just went down the drain. So he went to jail, and we don't hear about junk bond anymore. It's dead. They left it alone. And now they broke that down into personal. You can now go online yourself and do your own investment. You can go directly and do it. You can go to an investor and do it, but you can do it yourself, all of that. So yes, it is possible that if you are branding and you say, well, I have a consultant, I did this, it didn't work. But once you are convicted in this country, not even convicted, but indicted,
you know,
and you've been through the system, and not just Michael Patton accusing you, the federal government with all these charges, it's almost impossible to get out of there and say, you know what, I beat the entire United States system, and you can trust me. Even people, your own people, if this guy beat the federal government, who am I? He will trust me. I don't want to deal with him. So this is where we are. And I'm saying this to say, for those of you who are own your own podcast, you own your small business, you're starting, and it's not going well as you just got to keep at it. Okay, the investors will tell you, the company will tell you, we've been here since 1991, we've been here since 1904. We know what we are doing. We have been through the ringer. We are still standing. People listen to stuff like that. When you look at E.F. Hutton, one of the investment firms that I use, they got this thing. They say we make money the old-fashioned way. We earn it. Okay, they're not doing any shortcut. We make money the old-fashioned. We're not doing it like the scam thing. Now we're doing it the old-fashioned way. We're gonna go to work. We're gonna take care of your money. We're gonna take care of your accounts. And when you make money, we make money. That's the old-fashioned way. It has worked for us for 200 years. We're not changing it now. So if you have a platform and you're doing well, not too well, don't look at other people's platform. You don't know what they are doing to get 7,000-8,000 views. Stick with your motto, tweak it, keep working it. If you become reliable of a place for information, reliable information, they will come to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sandy,
Yeah.
You are a great presenter. Mr.
Thank
Padua,
you.
I want to say this today on your birthday. It's a
Oh,
special,
Papa, happy birthday, my man.
yes, it's a special
Yeah,
day
sure.
for you. But one thing that stands you apart from everybody else. This man works just like everybody else. We are here pushing our cartoon, but
That's the hustle, my man.
Over a year ago, he made a commitment that he and I will host this show.
That's
He
good.
have not missed one show.
That's
One
good.
time he came out, I could tell he had a cold. Okay. But he was on here till the very end. Even the audience noticed that this man is committed. So I will segue into our plea. When you turn the TV on, you turn your channel on, you will always find Focus on Liberia here. Different shows. It costs money to keep the lights on.
That's true.
Please make a donation. Focus on Liberia have been so successful that the people in Liberia want to hear more. So we have begun to tap into community radio stations. We are hiring folks on the ground to go to the different counties, to the different radio stations. It takes money. Please make a conscious decision to make a donation to FOL. Listen, what we just talked about, Facebook, ain't nothing free.
No.
But we like things that are free. That's why we are always behind when it comes to stuff. I'm an American, we got to get away from the free stuff. When you go to the different projects, you will find 3-4 generations of families being on welfare.
Yeah.
And to some government institution, it is in their interest to keep those people there because they are a capture audience. Like Mr. Padmo said, the certain group of people will always be like the evangelicals will always be far right.
Yep.
And our people will always be on the left because all they talk about is government programs. We need government programs. People need programs. People need free. So 3-4 generations, people are just in the project. Free. So I'm saying this to say, Focus on Liberia has been here. They don't ask you for anything, but when you turn it on, they're here. We are here on Sundays talking out of our heads. We don't make no contribution. Michael does his. I do mine personally, but it's not enough. So please, we have a Cash App. We have a Zelle. You can do it at 651-392-6224. Cash, FOLMED Media, all caps. And the same thing for Mr. Sandy. Wherever you see these shows, it is coming out of somebody's pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody is paying for it. And I'm glad that a Liberian is putting together a show, a platform like this, Focus on Liberia and other stuff. It is Liberian made. We have to support it. If we don't, when it goes down and say, man, those guys, man, they don't see it every time they start something, they just break down. But they won't tell you that I'm a consumer without paying. For years, you consume somebody's product and you don't make any contribution. But every time you try, what is it? The sound is low.
All the complaints. Yeah,
they always complain and they want the best. But to get the best, you got to make contribution.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Palmer, before we go to the cause and the stuff, we want to say happy birthday to you. I wish I could sing. Okay.
No. It's okay.
Sing, but I know you know your birthday. So, Mr. Palmer, help us with our plea here for some money.
Absolutely, man. Look, let me tell you guys something. Long before I volunteered to contribute, on this show, Focus on Liberia for me was always had established a benchmark. Facebook, anybody can put anything on Facebook.
Yeah.
So sometimes you wake up in the morning, you open Facebook, Joseph Boyka, they happen. Joseph Boyka get stroke. You know, oh, the president this. Oh, as an coming this. When I start to see those things, you know what I do? I pull up Focus on Liberia. Because I know that if it is on Focus on Liberia, there's some truth to it.
That's right.
These shows are shows that, look, we might go and listen to gossip. But when we want to know the facts, these are the places we come. Because we know they've built credibility. If we allow such platforms to not thrive, to not continue, then we lose a place where we can find some, then all we'll be left with that just gossip, you know? And when, you know, and that is a very unfortunate state to be in, you know? We all know, you know, there are so many things that of competing interests, you know, your kids, your family, your mortgage, the car note, the insurance, and all those things that come with it. You know what? We got, the family back home.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, and all that. But we can still, if it's that little $20 here, that little $10 there, you'll be surprised what that money. I'm a veteran of raising money. You know, a lot of our money that we raise, when we raise $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, a lot of that money, the people let $10, $20 that come in. That's where every night there's somebody that might give $1,000, but it's not frequent. But that let $20, $30 that people give and say, oh my man, all I got, they don't understand. When 300 other people giving that, you know, you're knocking on almost $10,000. Mm-hmm. So don't overlook that. That's what I'm trying to say to you guys. Do not overlook that. If that what you have, give. It is appreciated. It is appreciated because we understand that what you got. And we understand you are doing it in appreciation of the show. You know, that we can continue. We are moving head on into elections. Things are going to ramp up here really quick. Focus on Liberia needs to be on the ground and spread out 15 counties wide, you know, because there will be so much going on. We need to have people on the ground with the equipment and the time, you know, and have the resources that they can bring that information to you, that you can have credible information, you know. When someone you hear say, oh, so and so thing happened in Lofa, you can tune into Focus on Liberia and you can get that information. You can get that video. You can get that journalistic, you know, input on what is happening. The only way that will happen if we all pull hands and, you know, and make this work. You know, nobody here that reach me. We all, you know, are doing what we can in this America, but we all lean on each other. So I really want to you know, to appeal to you guys. Okay, do not overlook what you have. You know, if you don't with your expenses and got a little $20, please, the Cash App is there, the Zelle is there. You can reach out to us at any time if you don't have any of those things, and they will give you a way of doing that. So really, we appreciate you guys for coming on. We appreciate whatever you can give, to make sure that Focus on Liberia continues to be, you know, one of the premier shows out there that brings facts to the people. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And the numbers, are on the screen. 605. You can call to participate. If you are old fashioned like me and you don't want to get involved with Zelle and all that stuff, people don't like to put their personal accounts on social media, and that's fine. You can call the number directly and talk to somebody here, and they will be able to tell you where to send a check and all of that stuff. But if you want to call to participate in on the issues we've been discussing, please make sure you do that. We got about 20 minutes to that. While waiting for the call, if we have any call, please interrupt and let us know. Let me go to the comment section here. Mr. Sandy, I think this is a tradition we have here. We read our comment.
Sure, that's good. Yeah.
And for me, I'm like the Rodney Dangerfield. They're always attacking me here.
Let them people go ahead.
This guy, we got to appreciate if it's true. He says he's watching us from 55th
Wow.
Mississippi Street, Greenville, Sando County.
Wow.
Jeremiah
Ooh.
Cooley, we appreciate you this time of the night. Thank you very much for tuning in. Mr. Brooks, Stanton Waterspoon is now completely credible. He just needs to go in the background and focus on his court case. I think Mr. Sandy, you can speak to that because you said something very similar.
Yeah, I mean, his name has become toxic. You know, his name has created a problem for the network. He has to completely disengage, like the person is saying, disengage. Even like Marco was saying, if they can rebrand, because whenever someone hears the name Waterspoon, the first thing that comes to their mind is this federal indictment. And that just becomes a whole different thing for the network. So maybe they want to start thinking about rebranding. That Mr. Witherspoon focus on his legal matter, put all his best into that, use his family time wisely, let him completely disengage from appearance on the network. Yeah.
Great. Mr. Padmo, if you're listening, I know you would love to read this one, Mr. Padmo. Or Mr. Padmo is busy.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I think we'll have a caller.
Okay, caller, go ahead.
Go ahead,
caller, your name and where you calling from?
Do you want to put a person on
speaker?
speaker?
Hello. This is Mr. Houston Brooks calling from Honolulu, Hawaii.
Oh, Mr. Brooks, thank you. Beautiful state.
Yes, I'd like to start off by saying happy birthday to my brother, Mr. Padmo. It's always a blessing, to live another year, and wish him many more less years to come. Good show today, gentlemen. Very good show. What I'd like to share with the group is, of course, we all know that the Liberian government can be more forthcoming in providing information to its people. The president doesn't have to go into details about his trip, especially the business trip with the CIA. I mean, what details that he can provide is going to what is it going to do for us? But there's something about it without going into the nuts and bolts of the trip. On the first topic you started off with, Liberia, we need to create a climate of stability that can bring development to the country. We're talking about Omega Tower. Omega Tower is absolutely, the tower is not there today because that's obsolete technology. It's gone. And nowadays, they want to use the global positioning system for navigation. So that tower is not going to come back. But yes, we can create an environment in which, that if America is noticing China and Russia is playing Africa and she wants to count and reinforce her presence, we have to create the environment to welcome that. I don't really like us, like people comparing Liberia to Ghana, Nigeria, other neighboring West African countries, because these countries have had decades of stability, despite their turmoil coming up. And sometimes I think Liberians tend to forget that we're just coming back from years of civil war. So we need time to build our stability, and we need leaders effective leaders to do that. And that's just my 2 points I wanted to share with the show. I don't want to talk anything about 50 Key from Mr. Waterspoon. That man is, he lost his credibility. I think we all agree upon that. And nothing he said going forward can be taken seriously. I'm one of those that support the show. And when I get off the phone, I'll go to my Cash App. I will send something again. And I encourage my brothers and sisters listening to continue to support FOL because you gentlemen provide information with substance and with seriousness, and you gentlemen have the credibility that we can believe that what you provide us is to the best of your knowledge and is true. Have a happy Sunday, everybody. I'm out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Another thing we do here is we invite anybody who has a counter argument to come. Yeah. We are not just singing everybody's singing soprano here. Everybody knows I support the president. Everybody knows Mr. Palmer support the ANC and
The future
everybody,
president.
yeah, future president of Liberia, president in waiting that been waiting, and we make sure you pay for but Mr. Palmer, I think you like.
I love this, man. But Jomo Jala.
Yeah, I want you to read it. I know you love it. You are smiling already. I can see it. Go ahead.
You got the
you are only pressing a closing argument because they are fully funded by the government. You support. Fully. The 50,000
yeah.
But wondering what the 50,000 now we know.
Yeah. We're not talking about 10% or 15%. We're talking about the whole thing fully. He talking like Jerome that he was there when they signed the contract and everything. Go ahead, Mr. Palmer, keep reading.
So Sam Waller here. You know what happened? I went on the main page. I couldn't see a picture of him. They made him to put picture of himself, so they know what you're looking at. You can get no picture of himself. On the Sam Waller, you need to put picture of yourself up there. Yeah? Don't let Patmos selective amnesia when it comes to Cummings to tell you from donating. You forgive him. Thank you so much for forgiving me. Okay, forgiveness is divine. So, yes. To err is human, to forgive is divine. So thank you so much for forgiving me. We're still waiting for your picture.
All the ANC people, please make some donation. Don't.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, Lord. Okay, let's go to the next one here. There you go. Where is Mr. Xie? Well, we have addressed this 1,000 times. I think the CEO addressed it. These people, and I've said this over and over, what they do, okay, like Mr. Palmer and I, we are here once a week.
Yeah.
Sundays. But these people are on here 7 days a week.
Yeah, it's a lot.
There are times when they want to go to their children's play, children's game. They can't go because they have to babysit us. It is not an easy job. So if someone say, I need a few weeks or a few days off, it's well-deserved. Mr. Xie's son is about to play professional soccer, and they go to all these camps and all these academies. It takes time, and family comes first. So we are all chipping in.
Yeah, that's good.
There you go. Jerome Gayman. What am I saying? Jerome Gayman, why someone twerking so sponsor the show? Why you
yeah, well,
they man, you not sedition. You just want sedition.
Yeah, but that's what Joe man got to do something.
Listen, you know the sedition.
Yeah.
When I tell the folks that I am not a sedition, I'm a UP. I come from the power movement. I'm a UP person. Yeah. But I'm a follower of the president. Believe it or not, I have never met George Weah.
I never just like it. Yeah.
I know. The only thing we have in common is this thing right here, because it was similar to PAPD, that Bible.
Yeah.
It was similar to what Baka Matthew were preaching during the day. And a lot of those things, even if he accomplished 50% of that, I would be fine. Okay. But have I met him? No. The only time I ever sent money to CDC was when what a young man Ava took back was the only one that convinced me to sign a form and send in my yearly donation. That was it. Since then, I have not. So I don't have any enroll. I don't know any of these. They don't know me. So anybody who tells you that if I want to make myself feel good, I will be lying to you. I don't know any of these folks.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Tiaguba here says, I think this is a guy that was in Greenville too, or in Sino. I think he too was in Sino. He's watching from Sino, if I'm not mistaken. After 18 plus years, we are still talking about we are just coming from war. Rwanda came from a genocide, and they are moving forward in terms of development.
Sure.
We'll get there.
Mr. Sandy, you are you are a student of history. What the folks don't understand is that Rwanda doesn't have a history of democracy. They have hired one guy, president.
Yeah,
since-
dictatorship.
Yeah, I don't think Liberia can stomach somebody
No,
being
no, 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 no,
40
no.
years.
No.
So that's a big difference. And he's a militant. He's not a regular guy. So, you know, people got to
Yeah. Mhm.
wallow again. Let's go.
Please donate to FOL. No tabloid journalism.
That's correct.
True.
Chair Gayman.
You
This is from
offering
Madam
this deal.
Smith. When the ANC people talking, you get no right away.
Yeah. What coming out? You got to read it now.
Chair Gayman. You more than shout around with offering business or.
Jesus Christ, shout out Ramadan.
Yeah.
Stephen T. Liberty, good job, fellows, and continue the good job watching at work in Philadelphia, PA.
Excellent.
Yes.
Good.
Yes, it's amazing. There's somebody that there was a post there where somebody gave, and the post on that they had just sent a small thing. There you go. Houston Seabrooks. I already sent my small something to $ FOLMEDIA, FOL Media. Let's continue to support FOL. Thank you so much, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you. And
we appreciate you.
Mr. Toga Johnson, he was looking for means of making donation to the show. Mr. Toga Johnson, if you're listening, I don't know if you are sending your donation, but the information is here. We got 7 minutes. We got another show, so let's go into the closing here. Mr. Sandy, we appreciate you coming. I hope you can come back. This is home for you.
Sure.
We appreciate what you do, what you guys have done and continue to do. We need critical voices. We need professional critical voices, non-partisan to do what you guys do. And we appreciate that. Your closing argument, 1 minute. Excuse me. Your closing 1 minute.
Yeah. All I can say that if Liberia is to make progress, if Liberia is to move forward, the common enemy that we all need to work against is corruption. Once we take care of that, we will make progress. That's our greatest problem we have in our country. Thank you, Jerome. Thank you, Michael. It was a pleasure teaming up with you guys. I'm always available. My weekends are open. Whenever the need arises, let me know. I will avail myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Padmore?
Absolutely. And thank you, man. Today the birthday, so the phone is off the hook, And I appreciate first to our audience here, for all those who send birthday greetings. I appreciate it. I'm not a man I'm not a man that embraces the spotlight, and that's just me. But I appreciate all of the birthday wishes. To see another birthday in a world where every day we lose valuable people, and to still be here walking this earth, breathing this air, interacting with all of you is surely a blessing, and I don't take it for granted. I appreciate all of the great people who have sent me birthday wishes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So here to Liberia, look, I tell people with all of the challenges we've had, the beautiful thing about Liberia is that we still have the space to launch Liberia into what it's supposed to be. That is our gift that we have right now. Liberia is not so damaged to the place that it cannot be saved. Okay. My ardent prayer is that we do it in our lifetime. We leave to our children in Liberia that we can all be proud of. And with that being said, thank you so much, Mr. Gayman, for asking me to be on. And hopefully, we'll have an exciting election season, and we can come out of it united, focused on moving Liberia forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. The reason I like Mr. Padmore is he believes in the same thing that I believe in. Liberia will never be built by the government. Forget it. In the United States, when I was at the Chamber of Commerce, they say the government have never run a successful business. Never. The government have never done anything right. They can regulate, but they can't run nothing in the Liberian way. Personal, like Mr. Padmo got his business going. I got business going. Mr. Senny got a little thing going. That the private sector will run the government.
Absolutely.
Until we can come together and tell the government that we are formidable, that they have to come to us for answers. If we are all out there just putting our hand up, waiting for a government job, this is what is going on, and these people have no respect for most of us. Because you come from the United States, you got the opportunity to do a lot of things. If they call you for government consulting, you want to do it, that's fine. But it should not be your primary focus. You are not making any contribution to the economy. You're not making any contribution to your family. You started like Fagon, went to Liberia, started for 9 months, waiting to be hired, to be clear, to go to confirmation. In the meantime, the people making fun of him. That is not how it's supposed to work. So I have a lot of respect for this man. And the last time when they were having this, was it the voice thing, the singing thing?
That was a
talent. How they call it? American.
What is it? I know you're trying to say.
When the young girl of Liberia was actually in the competition and she was winning. Okay. Michael Padmo basically took it upon himself to make sure that every Liberian that was within his reach supported her. And that's the kind of Liberia that I want to live into. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. As we always say, we end the show. We are all Liberian, no matter where you come from. We end the show with our song, We Are All Liberian. See you next Sunday, same time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. USA UAE, we want. Liberia, USA UAE, we want. Liberia,